You look like you could beat Saul up.
No, Saul was a heck of a fighter. Saul was a real good amateur fighter, and he's a pretty good pro, and he's even a better person. Now, more importantly, let's concentrate on this fight in front of us. Lawson, the undefeated fighter, you know, he's a big man. I said that in the fight plan. Let me put some proof to it. Prescott, much smaller. He has been a lightweight and junior welterweight his entire career. Just went up to welterweight in his last 2 fights, Todd. While Lawson is a full-fledged welterweight his entire career. I think Lawson needs to use that size advantage, come forward, smart, behind the jab, and start to bang the body of the smaller Prescott early. So later on, it could pay off for him. You know, kind of like putting those CDs in the bank. You know, you put them in when your kids are young, and then as they get a little older, they mature, they pay off for you. Body work matures, it pays off for you later in the fight.
Fredrick Lawson wore a camouflage outfit yesterday to our fighter interviews, said he was ready for war. And we told Prescott of Lawson's attire, he said if he wants a war, I'll give him a war. And here we go. Prescott with a right hand that connects.
Yeah, well, Prescott is the veteran. He's been in much tougher fights than Lawson. You know, this is a step up for Lawson. He's been in with a lot of soft opposition for the most part. And for Prescott, you know, he's been in real fights. He knows what he can handle. He knows he can depend on himself. Lawson hasn't really learned that lesson yet. And Prescott, for him, he's got to stay outside, use his legs, box a little bit, use his jab, and look for the right hand. That's where the power comes for Prescott, that straight right hand. And, you know, I think that Prescott is going to go rounds tonight. And I think that you're going to find out something about Lawson. I'm not a believer in Lawson, I'll tell you right now, I'm not sold on him. And I'm not saying he's in with Godzilla tonight, but it is a way of measuring him by seeing him with Prescott, even though it is a 32-year-old Prescott who has looked a little shop-worn lately. But if he's got enough left, he can make it interesting against Lawson.
Prescott just 6-6 in his last 12 fights. Lost to Robert Garcia right here on Friday Night Fights back in July, a 10-round unanimous decision. But he certainly got the experience edge over Lawson, who really hasn't fought anyone of note except for Ray Nar, his fellow countryman, on Friday Night Fights, and won by a 10-round unanimous decision.
Yeah, Prescott is in the twilight of his career. But this is still, I said it, I'll say it again, this is still a step up for Lawson.
Pretty good action here in our opening round. It's our main event here on Friday Night Fights. Diaz, that's April 3rd, 9 p.m. from Corona, California. Now round 2 of our main event. Breidis Prescott wearing the black and red trunks. Freddie General Okunka Lawson wearing the gold and black. What did you make of Lawson's soundbite we rolled earlier where he said, I want a war, I want to be tested, I want to see what I'm made of? You like your fighter saying that?
Listen, I like the idea that he's probably prepared for the best fight or the best fighter that he's been in there with, and that he understands that somewhere along the line he's going to have to be tested, he's going to have to behave like a fighter. You know, I think that part of that bravado is that, well, it's attached to the things that I pointed out already, that he knows he's the bigger guy. He knows that he's 7 years younger. You know, it's easier to rooster, you know, and you know that you have hens out there. You know, it's a little easier to crow.
Right.
And I think that's part of the reason. You know, I'm going to tell you what I believe. I'm not going to tell you what is just, you know, sometimes traditional to be said or conventional to be said or easy to be said. I think Lawson just feels that he has an edge in his fight, and it's easy to say, yeah, I want a war. If he was in there with maybe, I don't know, you mentioned whoever the top welterweight is, say Cotto, I don't think he'd be saying I want a war.
Well, they're exchanging power punches right now. Not too much defense being seen. We're only midway through round 2.
Yeah, the problem with Prescott, again, he's 32 years old. He's in the twilight of his career. He is the veteran here. I think he can test Lawson, but he likes to go inside, and he is the smaller guy. So when he goes inside, if Lawson responds properly, Prescott's going to wind up getting the worst of it. especially if Lawson goes downstairs.
Lawson doing well fighting out of the corner, but eats a couple right hands.
I still think Prescott would be better off using
his... no, left connects from Prescott.
I still think Prescott would be better off on the outside. Even though he's having moments here, using his legs, pot-shotting with his jab and looking for the right hand. Because if he stays inside too long with the bigger Lawson, the younger Lawson, the undefeated Lawson, I think he's going to wind up getting worn down in the later rounds. But you know what? Prescott's a fighter. He's really not a boxer. Even though his body tells you that he should box, even though the things that I pointed out, you know, all the evidence tells you, all the stats tell you that he should box in this fight. But at the end of the day, Prescott's going to do what he does, and that's going to be engaged.
Your son improved to 2-0 on tonight's undercard. Antonio Jr., what kind of fighter is he?
He's a fan-friendly fighter, man. He sits in there, he put his chest in the fight. He's not afraid to take chances, and I love it because he let his hands go.
Well, you knocked out Jonathan Banks on your last fight last December on ESPN. What is next for you? When are you going to make your return?
Man, I need some action, man. So if you know any top 5 heavyweights looking to get knocked out, come see me, baby. I need some action, man. I'm ready.
Thanks, Antonio.
Thank you.
You know anybody, Teddy? Got anybody in your Rolodex? You still use a Rolodex, don't you?
What's a Rolodex? I have no idea.
It's where you flip the thing and all the cards come up from the 70s.
Well, I don't have them. I just have them on my desk.
Okay.
They're just all over different. I know where they are. Some on the left side, some on the right side, some inside the desk. You know, some on top of that pile of paper.
Okay.
I know exactly where they are. Listen, maybe you should fight Shannon Briggs. I mean, I know that I don't go on the internet. Everybody knows that, but I've been told that they've been having a little bit of an internet war, and maybe that wouldn't be.
Hey, I'd like to see it.
Maybe that'd be okay. You know, the former cruiserweight champ moving up to fight full heavyweight in Briggs, who's been out of the business for a while. Now he's trying to come back and trying to make some noise, chasing after Klitschko and doing all that kind of stuff, trying to get attention. Maybe before he could really legitimize that, I don't know if it could ever be legitimate that Briggs should fight Klitschko, but if he wants to try to make it legitimate, maybe he takes a step, you know, with Tarver, and if he beats Tarver, hey, it makes his chances for yelling for that fight, right, a little bit better, a little bit louder. Right now, what's getting louder is Lawson starting to press the action a little bit more, and Prescott doing what I think he should do. I don't know if he's going to stay with it, but he's boxing on the outside, using that jab, using his legs a little bit, and I think that, again, he's a smaller man. That's what he should do against Lawson. You know, I was looking at Lawson's record, and I said, wow, he was very active that first year he turned pro in 2011. He had 12 fights. That's the way you want to develop a prospect.
That may have been a knockdown.
And keep him busy.
It was a knockdown, a right hand to the temple from Lawson. Prescott complaining it was a slip, but it is a knockdown.
You know, maybe in some ways that's a good thing. People out there are going to say, Teddy, have you lost your mind in the heat of Miami? But maybe that's a reminder to Prescott, you are the smaller guy. You need to box. You don't need to be engaging with this guy who's just too big for you. Maybe that will remind him to do what he's doing a little bit now. Box.
Nice jab there by Lawson.
Some swelling under the left eye of Prescott. He doesn't have enough problems. He's got another problem now with that swelling. And his corner man better know how to use an end swell right away before that swelling gets worse.
So round 3 includes a knockdown for Freddie Lawson. A 10-8 round. We'll show it to him.
Take a look at the knockdown, and you decide, is it a real knockdown? Lawson, he makes the move to the side, cuffs him behind the head, his leg slips out. Take another look. Look at the leg of Prescott. It's going to slip out. It slips out, but definitely a cuff, but not really a legal punch. You know, that's the funny thing. The referee could have just warned Lawson. He didn't really have to give a knockdown there. I think if I'm the referee there, I say, hey, yeah, he went down, yeah, he did get hit, but it wasn't really a legal punch. It was behind the head. So I'm going to say, I'm going to call off the knockdown, and I'm going to say, hey, I'm going to warn you now. I know he turned, I know he got out of position, but don't hit him behind the head. So for me, that should have been a knockdown. But
it was a snap decision. He made it.
Yeah, and it's a 10-8 round right now, and that's what matters. 10-8 round for Lawson.
So Prescott, who Teddy has basically begged to stay outside and use his boxing skills, has been known to engage in firefights, especially when he feels like his back is against the ropes. And he definitely lost round 2. Or excuse me, round 3.
Listen, I'll give credit to Lawson. I've seen an improvement. Somebody is telling him the right things in between fights. Somebody's pointing out, you know, the things that we saw in the air, or at least that I saw in the air, the last time that Lawson fought on our air against Raymond Naw. I was saying that Lawson leaves himself wide open, reaching in with punches. I think somebody looked at that tape and they corrected those things. He's not leaving himself, although he got right there.
Nice one,
and he got nailed with Prescott. For the most part, Lawson not leaving himself wide open, reaching in like he did in his prior fights.
Lawson still bouncing on his toes. Handled those punches pretty well, at least so it seems.
See, again, if I'm Prescott, I know you're getting drawn in now. You're a fighter, and you're doing okay here, but you're still in there with the bigger guy. I'd be boxing on the outside, taking little pieces of him, looking for the right hand, not laying in front, moving to the side, keeping Lawson turning, not letting him come forward like that, because when he comes forward like that, he's going to hurt you if you're Prescott, because, again, Prescott a little light in the backside, I think, to stay in there with Lawson. See, Lawson's good coming forward, but going to the sides on him, you make him turn, you keep him off balance, he's not so effective. That should have been the game plan, I believe, for Prescott. And also, what did I do in the fight plan? I talked about stretching out the ring. I talked about Prescott stepping out and making Lawson reach. If you step out, you can make Lawson reach. If you stay close, you're not going to make Lawson reach. And you're not going to get those shortcomings from Lawson. You want to get those shortcomings. You want to get those flaws from Lawson. So step out. Make Lawson reach. Right now, Prescott not making Lawson reach. Prescott just bringing the heat.
And a left hook from Prescott knocks Lawson off balance. A good round, especially considering Prescott got dropped in the 3rd. Hook from round number 4.
Well, here's Exhibit A if you're in a courtroom and you're trying to prove why Prescott shouldn't stand in front of the bigger Lawson. He stands in front and with his left hand low, and he eats a right hand right there. That's, again, Exhibit A if you're making a case for Prescott not to stand in front of the bigger Lawson.
Prescott's right eye is swelling shut before our eyes, and I was shocked to look in Prescott's corner. They weren't even attending to his eye at all.
No end swell. I mean, they did take the ice bag, but really nothing. For about 5 seconds, they put an ice bag on him, took it off his neck, put it on his face, but that's not long enough. You got to put that ice there longer than that, and that's why the end swell's there. It's a piece of metal that absorbs the cold. You put it in ice, you take it out of the ice bucket, it's really cold, and you gently put it onto that swollen area, and you bring that swelling down. And you have to do it at the beginning of the fight when the swelling starts. You have to do it right at the beginning. If you let it go, you're going to have a problem. That swelling's going to get out of hand. And I think it's getting out of hand a little bit now.
Round 5 of a scheduled 10, the welterweight division. Fredrick Lawson, undefeated, 23-0, 20 knockouts, said he wanted a war from Prescott. And for the most part, that's what we've got. Both men landing big power punches. Prescott did go down in the 3rd.
If you're wondering who's in charge of the end swell in the corner of Prescott, is Jesus and Ricky Fernandez.
I was wondering.
Well, you don't have to wonder anymore. I hate when you wonder. Especially when you wander around. You never know where you are. Again, to the credit of Lawson, you know, he's not lighting the house on fire. I said it earlier, I'm going to stay with it. I'm not sold on him yet. But to his credit, he showed me that he's learned something from the other fights I've seen of him, that he heard some of the criticism. Maybe he just saw it on the film, and he got shaken a little with the right hand there, or maybe he was a little off balance. But he heard probably me saying in his last fight that he reaches in. And I haven't seen him reach in here tonight, and I give him credit for that. Matter of fact, he's laying back right now, and he's looking to counterpunch, looking to draw Prescott, the smaller man, into the traps. And, you know, he can do that with Prescott because, again, Prescott doesn't really do what he should do. He doesn't box. He's a fighter, and, you know, he doesn't disguise it. It ain't just nothing fancy. Just comes right at you.
Has a lot of heart. And a lot of fans here as well. Several Colombian flags and Colombian soccer jerseys in the crowd. They're wanting to get behind him, wanting to land a big shot.
But heart's not enough. You got to have heart and intellect. Because when you have a guy who's got heart, and then the other guy has heart too, but he's also smarter, and he's bigger, well, he's tougher too.
We welcome you back to Friday Night Fights on a Thursday night. You're watching our main event, welterweight action scheduled for 10. Fredrick Lawson, undefeated out of Ghana, taking on a very tough challenge. Hard-hitting Colombian Breidis Prescott, who was dropped in the 3rd round, very controversially so. May have been a slip. And you can see the swelling under both of Prescott's eyes. We're wondering if the corner even had an in-swell. We found out they did. Watch how long they use it for, Ted.
Yeah, not long, that's for sure. You could count 1 1,000, 2 1,000 there. That's it, 2 seconds.
Unbelievable.
Not long enough to bring down that swelling that you could see. You don't have to tell us or have us tell you. You saw the pictures there. Those eyes are swelling, especially the left eye. And again, the end swell not used long enough to do the job.
They'd be better off spritzing him with cold water.
When I watch Prescott, he reminds me of the movie The Gambler. You know, because in The Gambler, no matter how many people told him that, hey, you know, sometimes you gotta step away. Sometimes you gotta, you know, walk away from the long shot. Not Prescott. He's always going in there looking for the big money, looking for the big punch, looking to cash in, looking to gamble. There is no in between with Prescott, and you know that's been to his detriment, especially recently in his career. And we'll see whether or not it's to his detriment tonight, or maybe he'll break down the undefeated and untested Lawson.
Well, Prescott's trainer, Franco Gonzalez, said, we want our fighter Prescott to go forward, forward, forward.
See, I don't agree with it, but we'll find out who's right. What they're bargaining on is that Prescott, again, will uncover something in Lawson that hasn't been uncovered yet. You know, he's undefeated. He's been in there pretty soft. They're hoping that he's going to uncover a soft spot to Lawson. Maybe a deficiency mentally that he's not really as tough as his record is. We're going to find out. It's interesting. I'm enjoying this.
Prescott has plenty of power, 20 knockouts, 27 victories. We're going to find out if Lawson does have a chin.
You know, I talk about the record of Lawson on soft opposition. How soft, you ask? Well,
and now Prescott loading up. Lawson fighting back as we wind down round 6.
Yeah, 11 of his opponents, 11 of Lawson's opponents had 0 wins when he fought them. He's getting tested now.
I want a firefighter. I want you to control. Against the ropes, I want you to slide over, okay? Give me one uppercut. That's all you need. I don't need a combination.
That was Fredrick Lawson's trainer, Abel Sanchez, who was telling his fighter to hit Prescott in the chest.
I'll be honest with you, I prefer hitting him on the chin.
Is it maybe a case of aim for his chest and maybe he'll hit his chin?
That's just me. I think.
What do you know?
I think. What do I know? I just think it'd be more effective if you actually hit him on the chin. But
I believe Evander Holyfield dropped Mike Tyson with a shot to the chest back in the day.
Well, Mike Tyson didn't have to tough his chest. He had a glass chest, apparently. We're going along with that glass head.
We're in round 7 of 10. It's been a very entertaining main event. Freddie Lawson trying to remain perfect. Breidis Prescott perhaps at a crossroads of his career, maybe known as a gatekeeper in the welterweight division. But a win here puts him back into bigger and better fights for sure.
There's an old saying in boxing, Customado, my mentor, one of the greatest in the game of all time, used to always say that when you're in a fight and both guys' talents are fairly comparable, that fight becomes more a test of will than of skill. It just becomes that. And right now, that's what's happening here. This is becoming more a test of will than of skill. And if it continues that way, we're going to find out who has the stronger will. And I'm wondering if it's not Prescott again.
Well, Lawson's never been in a fight like this before.
Who has been in real fights.
Yeah.
And I made the point earlier that 11 of Lawson's opponents had 0 wins when he fought them. A lot of times management thinks that's the way to build a fighter. You know, you build their record up, and then later on you get to a money fight because you built that record up. For me, I want my fighters to take a deep breath in a fight on their way up. So when they step up a little bit like tonight, they're ready for it. I'm not sure if Lawson's mentally ready for it, but I'm not sure if Prescott is physically up to it, being a smaller man, to really bring it to where he needs to bring it, because he's slowed down now, Prescott.
And you can see Prescott sit down on his right hand there, connecting with Lawson. It's a very close fight.
And again, you see the eyes swelling on Prescott. No help from the corner. Not getting ice, not getting an end swell for any period of time on those eyes. But you know what? It's okay right now because Lawson's not really punching this round. He's not doing any damage to those eyes. And Prescott's becoming the man here. Again, I'm going to say it. The will of Prescott, is it starting to take over from the skill of Lawson? It just might be.
Prescott's been in with some big names. He's been in some hellacious fights. We mentioned earlier he knocked out Amir Khan within a minute. He's been in there with Mike Alvarado. You know how hard he hits.
I'll tell you, just put another round in the bank. That round should belong to Prescott. He was the man pushing that round, pushing the tempo.
Eddie Atlas ringside. This is our main event. It's anyone's fight at this point. Round 8 of a scheduled 10 in our main event from the welterweight division. Fredrick Lawson, undefeated, 23-0, taking on Breidis Prescott from Colombia. And it appears like, Teddy, that Prescott has found his form, is starting to feel the fight better now, and is starting to impose his will on the Ghanaian.
Well, it feels that way on my scorecard, too, because I've been giving a lot of rounds to Prescott where it's becoming his fight. For me, anyway. Who knows what the judges have? One never knows for sure what that can be. But for me, as I said it early, that, you know, Prescott was gambling. You know, he's a smaller man, but he gambled. You know, he was going inside and testing the will of Lawson, figuring Lawson undefeated, untested, hasn't been in any real fights. Figured that, hey, he could come up, you know, a little better than Lawson if it becomes a tested fight, because, very simple, Prescott's been tested. So, you know, he trusted that, and he's going with it. He's pressing his fight.
For more on Breidis Prescott, let's send it over to Brian Campbell.
Thanks, Todd. When we last saw Prescott last July on our air, he lost to Roberto Garcia. He said he only had 21 days to train due to visa issues, but he says, when I am trained, you will expect a war when I have a full training camp, and we're seeing that tonight.
One of the things that has helped Prescott a little bit is Lawson really hasn't fought like the bigger guy. You know, I put the stats out there. He's a much bigger guy, but he really hasn't fought like, he's fought like Prescott maybe you would have thought would have fought. You know, he's been boxing. He's standing on the outside, uses jab pretty well. I got to give him credit. But he's looking to set up counters. He's backing up. He's giving up the ring. You know, he's giving up space. He's looking to set traps. And he's allowing Prescott to feel confident, feel like he is the man. And Prescott, the last several rounds, acting like he's the man.
Teddy Atlas has it very close on his scorecard. I believe you have it a draw right now, and you can see the CompuBox statistics show you just how close it is. Prescott and Lawson battling out here in South Florida, outside, mid-70s temperatures. The humidity not too bad, but you can see that both men right now digging deep here.
I'm just wondering now, Prescott now, you know, boxing a little bit, picking his spots a little bit. You know, he's not pressing it. He's pressing in spots, then boxing in spots. Even though I thought it was the wrong way to press the fight for Prescott, once he went with it and I saw the results that he was breaking Lawson down, I thought he should have kept that heat on, and he's been taking it off a little bit. I think that might be a mistake on Prescott. Keep the heat on. What the hell? I mean...
Deep breath. Deep breath. Okay, now.
So here we go, Teddy. 2 rounds left. It appears, at least by your scorecard, Lawson needs to win them both. What would you tell him in the corner right now?
Well, right now, I have Lawson winning the last round, so I got him up by 1 round. But I would tell him, you know, be who you are. You know, you're the bigger man. Use your jab. Your jab's been effective. You can make an argument for both sort of strategies, I guess, with Lawson, because he's boxing a little bit now. I didn't think he was going to do that, but his jab's been pretty effective. He's been letting Prescott, maybe in their mind, walk into punches. So maybe they think they're better off boxing. For me, I would have stayed with what I thought the identity of Lawson should be in that fight. And that's to be the bigger guy from the beginning to the end. Press behind your jab, do it smart, but press behind your jab, go to the body, and just instill your physicality on a smaller man by going forward. And for the last 5 rounds, Lawson hasn't done that. He's been, you know, he's changed. He's been boxing. He's been acting like the smaller man. Now he's pressing a little bit more, and he's doing it the right way, behind an effective jab. And it's been very effective for him, the jab of Lawson. Been very accurate for him.
Some clean punches landing there by Lawson, who, as you mentioned, is starting to go forward a little bit.
Yeah, I would, again, know who you are. You know what your identity is, especially with who you're in there with. You're in there with a smaller guy, a guy who's a little shot one, 32 years old. I would have been pressing behind the jab, doing it smart, feinting once in a while. But I would have been trying to wear down the smaller, the older, maybe the shot worn Prescott, instead of letting him be around in the late rounds where, you know, he's got a little juice left. Because Prescott has a little juice left now, and part of the reason why he has it left now, again, is because Lawson really hasn't brought the fire.
Well, Lawson said that he wanted a decision, wanted a struggle, wanted a true test. He's getting all those things, it appears, right now, with just 50 seconds remaining in round number 9.
See, I thought Prescott had grabbed the fight, and now he's giving it back the last 2 rounds. And I'm not afraid to say why. I'm saying why because I thought Prescott should have boxed earlier, but once he started pressing, and once he started getting effect, pressing, the bigger man, I thought he should have kept doing it, and he stopped doing it. And he stopped testing the will of Lawson, and he gave Lawson a reprieve. And I think a reprieve that has allowed Lawson to get off the hook.
Could that reprieve be because of fatigue? We've seen that Prescott's been pushing the action, maybe has thrown more punches.
Listen, that's a fair question. It's human out, fatigue, and Prescott again. He's 7 years older. He's 32 years old.
We're going to listen in now to Breidis Prescott's corner. They speak Spanish, so too does our own Saul, who will be translating.
Last round coming up. Cambia ahora, mano.
Like, change hands. Gotta keep your right hand up. You can't lose without this round. Look at him, he's tired.
Este round hay que ganarlo.
Okay, you gotta win this round. You gotta win this round.
Este hay que ganarlo. Este es el último. Ok, este round hay que ganarlo. Doble A, derecho cruzado. Ok. I don't want you to stop throwing the jab.
Good job by Saul. You know, that advice might be 2 rounds too late. You know, maybe they should have told him that 2 rounds ago, because now I think he has to win 2 rounds. And you know what? It's hard to win 2 rounds when there's 1 left.
All you got to do is knock him down, make it 10-8. So here we go. It all comes down to this, or so they say. Prescott versus Lawson. Lawson admitted that he's had nightmares thinking about this fight. He's been staying up late, can't sleep. Knew how tough it would be, and it's lived up to that sort of nightmarish scenario, because right now Lawson may just need a knockout. We don't know yet. It's been that type of close fight.
See, Lawson turns into Prescott what I thought Prescott was going to do tonight. He's the counterpuncher, and I got to say, can't argue with it right now. Lawson doing a good job, even though he's the bigger guy, and I think if he pressed all night, he would have got the job done, but he's getting it done this way. He's boxing now. He's allowing a one-dimensional, smaller Prescott to walk into punches. Just look at what Lawson's decided to do. Set traps, go backwards, and walk Prescott into counters. Doing a good job, Lawson, right now, of boxing.
You mentioned when their skills are about even, it may come down to will. And here we are in the 10th round. Who does truly want it more?
But you know what? The skills aren't even. Lawson's younger, he's fresher, he's got more or less. His skills a little better. And again, I think Prescott missed the boat. He took the gamble. He was that gambler about 6 rounds ago, and he pressed it, he pressed it, he pressed it. And he was getting effect, even though he's a smaller guy. But then he stopped pressing, and he allowed Lawson off the hook, and Lawson is fresh now. And Lawson is doing whatever he wants now. You can see it.
You can see you can see Yuri Gamboa over there in the corner standing up, pleading for Breidis Prescott to do something.
And again, it's too late. It's Lawson. He can press what he wants and he can box what he wants now. He's got the fight under control right now. You said it. He's got a weary Prescott, a smaller Prescott, a shot-worn Prescott, a 32-year-old Prescott. He gave it his best early, then he let off the gas. And now even when he presses, it's not effective. And Lawson can see him coming. He can tie him up like he's doing right now. And then he could just box.
Half minute to go.
I tell you, Lawson told me something tonight. Lawson's told me that he doesn't believe, even though his record is 22 or 23-0 with 20 knockouts, he doesn't believe he's that monster puncher. He doesn't believe that he's that sick and destroy guy. He doesn't believe he's that big welterweight who can just go get you. He believes that he's more of a boxer. And maybe he's right. And he's showing it right now. And maybe he got convinced of who he needs to be tonight by Prescott.
Both men raising their arms in celebration of victory, but somebody's going to be disappointed. Will it be Breidis Prescott or Freddie Lawson? Find out when Friday Night Fights returns.
Because a fight is going to act like a fight. Is going to sneak in an extra shot, and it's up to the referee to be in position and make sure it doesn't get snuck in.
Here's Teddy's scorecard. He has Lawson winning 96-93. For those of you scoring on our Friday Night Fights Facebook page, you've got Prescott winning it 6 rounds to 4. Let me remind you of this. In round number 3, Prescott went down. The referee said it was a knockdown. Teddy Atlas did not agree. Will that one solitary point play a factor in the outcome of this fight? Let's find out now. Here's Thomas Trier.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 10 rounds of boxing, we go to the judges' scorecards, and we have a split decision. Judge Rorik Young scores it 95-94 in favor of Lawson. Judge Richard Green scores it 96-93 in favor of Prescott. And Judge Michael Ross scores it 95-94 in favor of your winner and still undefeated Fredrick General Okonka Lawson.
That 1 point played a huge factor. By my calculations, it would have been a majority draw had the 1 point for the knockdown not been credited. Either way, Lawson survives, Teddy.
Yeah, he did. Listen, I said it right at the beginning. I'm not sold on Lawson. I'm still not sold on him, but he made an adjustment in his fight. I thought he should have pressed the fight all night long with the smaller man. Pressed it the right way, but he should have pressed it. He should have known who he was. He should have known who he was tonight. The bigger man, he didn't do that. But you know what? He probably become a better fighter.
For the covered head of Breidis Prescott, who clearly felt he did enough to win. Either way, great main event tonight. Doug Kazarian will join us next.